Hello friends and welcome back to the channel. Season 43, War number 4, and today we're taking on an alliance that we in SSX are very close to, the good folks over in 4 Loki. It's always kind of a drag to fight 4 Loki just because, one of us has to lose and we're all, pretty cool with each other. So Omega Sentinel, Void are going to be our main attackers today, and we have a couple of pre-fights to dole out with Mag's House of X. No Scorpion, no Agent Venom, as you'll notice, which means no Kindred. Very excited about that. Starting off today on path number 1, we have a Sauron on node 4. Sauron is a tactic defender this season, so we're going to be going in with Omega Sentinel, who is a tactic attacker. Going to be using the heal block pre-fight to counteract the nodes, and also Sauron's personal regen. Also, since Omega Sentinel is a tactic attacker, we're going to be power burning him on every hit, which is good. But more importantly, we are also removing his prowess with every hit as well. And Sauron without prowess basically does absolutely nothing. He can't go unblockable. His specials, they are kind of tricky to dex, especially that special one. But without a lot of prowess, they really don't pose any sort of significant danger here. So we're going to be going for the special 2 here to try and end the fight as quickly as possible. Unfortunately, I forgot to apply a 3rd heal block debuff, so we're only getting 3 plasmas, but they're going to be doing a pretty nice chunk of damage there. You can see about 3,200 damage per second, and then from here we're just keeping everything paused with light combo enders, finishing him off with a special 1. We took barely any damage there, which is great because we have several other Omega Sentinel fights to do. Next up, we have a Longshot on node 13 here, also going to be going in with Omega Sentinel. This one's a little trickier because of masochism. So the plan here is to do a medium combo ender to trigger masochism, and then immediately do a double medium again to get the heal block active. And then from here we're going to be doing only light combo enders in order to keep that heal block paused. I did have my indestructible boost just in case Mystic Dispersion got a bit out of control here. I used up 2 of my hits there, but the goal here is really just to block his specials if you can, because if you dex, that precision buff is going to be giving him more power, and Longshot, when he's spamming specials, can get really painful to play against here. So you can see I'm not really worrying about any of my special attacks. I'm just trying to keep him power burned, keep the heal block up on him. We don't want to trigger masochism, but if we do, it's not a big deal because, again, he's heal blocked. So I found that hitting into his block twice makes him more likely to throw a special attack. So you saw I was doing like medium light into his block. In my duels that I was doing, I found that he was pretty consistently tossing his specials, so that made it easier for me to predict them and thus block them, and not worrying about triggering that dexterity buff there. So we did go special 3 rotation that places a bunch of incinerates, about 5k damage per second, and he dies shortly thereafter. Alright, we're up in section 2 now. We have another thing on node 30. I took this fight with Void early in the season, and we're going to be doing it again here. I think I originally had Omega Sentinel slated here, but I requested a switch to Void because I was concerned that with Omega Sentinel as a tactic attacker, constantly power burning him, it was going to be extra difficult to get a special attack lined up for him with 15 rock stack. So I'm comfortable taking Thing with Void on almost any node. It is a bit of a longer fight, of course, because Thing is very tanky, and I don't really do a good job fighting him here in terms of worrying about protection. So I'm constantly triggering the protection, either baiting out a heavy or stunning him. I'm really just 100% focused here on maintaining his rock stacks. Again, I think I said this earlier in the season, both of Void's special attacks have 2 hits to them, so 13 is your magic number in terms of launching a special attack against him. So I'm trying to keep within 5 hits of that 13th rock stack so that I can get to that 13 and then toss a special attack. And then, just a matter of keeping the debuffs active up on him. I can't really speak, I guess. I did speed this fight up a little because it's pretty straightforward, so there we go. Alright, next up we have a Man-Thing on 40 with Buffet. Omega Sentinel is the play here. She is immune to Nullify and is a great counter here, not only for the node, but she will also never get poisoned or armor broken by Man-Thing because he relies on Nullify to do so. Now you saw me pop an invuln boost there, and that was really just because I wasn't sure how gnarly the power gain was going to get in this fight. Not only because we're going to be constantly triggering the precision buff from dexterity, but he guarantees those pustule buffs on you whenever he throws a special attack. And if he turtles up and gets very uncooperative at any point in the fight, I didn't know if he was, if there was a good chance that I could accidentally push him to the SP3, even with like the power burn in play here. So I just wanted that safety net here. So we're just kind of, you know, trying to play it conservative, not pushing him too far over 2 bars of power here. I prefer the special 2 here because you can actually avoid it without triggering Dex, which is going to, again, lessen the amount of power gain here. But you really want to Dex the special 1 for sure. So we're just trying to keep the buffs paused. We've got 3 heal blocks, 3 incinerates, adding a bunch more on here, and he really was never in danger of getting to that special 3. So I think if I took this fight in the future, we will not use the invuln here. So moving on, we have a Toad Mini on 46 with Burden of Might and High Energy Diet. Now for High Energy Diet, Omega Sentinel's second medium will trigger the node, so once you apply that initial heal block with a double medium, just skip the second medium entirely for the rest of the fight, and you want to use your 4 lights to keep it paused. All of those attacks are going to be physical base damage and aren't going to trigger the node. And then we're not going to have access to our special attacks at all in this fight because of Burden of Might. Our combat power rate is going to be essentially nothing with all those armor ups and the regen on us. And then of course Omega Sentinel is immune, or resistant rather, to the poison, so there's very little chance that we're ever going to get the stun on us from too many poisons, as long as we remember to dash back, which we're kind of doing naturally, just to, you know, dexing his specials. And then we are taking care of all of his prowess passives from the tactic, keeping him power burn. So this is really just keep him in the corner. He's heal blocked, so his big regen that he's trying to activate from being struck in the corner is not able to heal him. And this is a very, very straightforward fight. One of the best counters, maybe the best counter to Toad here on this node. Alright, last but not least, we have another 7-star rank 2 Sasquatch boss with over 1 million health. I did this fight during the off-season, but, you know, this one actually counts, so a little bit more important here. I do want to take a moment and talk about my mastery setup, which is something I didn't talk about in the video for the off-season. Now, normally I don't switch my masteries unless it's absolutely required, but for a 1 million health Sasquatch boss, I did want to at least turn on Resonate, which does feed into Void's direct damage, so I figured I might as well, if I'm going to be resetting anyways, just get a specific setup for this boss. So let's talk about the proficiencies first. You can see that I do have Parry maxed out, and that's just for the damage reduction. Max Limber in case I block one of his special 1s, but I have no points in Stupefy because the boss is stun immune, so increased stun duration really not going to help us out here. Now when it comes to defense, I upped my stand your ground from 4 out of 5 to 5 out of 5, just a safety measure there. Also upped willpower from 1 out of 3 to 3 out of 3, just in case we get any ruptures on us. We want to be healing back as much of that damage as possible. 3 out of 3 inequity is standard in all of my builds, very important mastery. And then again, the entire point of doing this was so that I could put a point in Resonate. Resonate has a chance per hit to place a weakness debuff, which is not only going to help us reduce block damage, baiting out heavies from Sasquatch, it's also going to feed into Void's direct damage as an additional unique debuff. And then last but not least, the offense tree. I did up the precision and cruelty masteries to 5 out of 5 each. Normally I only run 3 and 4 in those respectively. Despair, very important again, 3 out of 3 in every mastery build that I have set up. And my last 2 points I popped into Assassin, which is a mastery that I never run just because I don't like uncontrollable ability accuracy reduction. But in this fight there's really nothing to worry about. So getting that increased damage when he's below, I think it's 18% health, is really going to be helpful in speeding up the end of that fight. Alright, now let's jump into the fight itself. I would say that this one is not as clean as the one that I uploaded separately a week or 2 ago. So we use an advanced power boost. That's just so we can have a special attack ready to go at the start of the fight in order to keep the Mr. Fantastic debuffs paused. I said in that video, and I'll say it again here, those debuffs are not necessary in order for Void to be able to soul this fight. It just makes it a bit faster. Also helps with keeping his power gain and his healing in check at the start of the fight because one of those debuffs is a Petrify. And once you get your own Petrifies up, then you don't really need those anymore here. So we're doing a pretty good job here. We've already got 20% of his health down in the first 40 seconds. And I think right around here is when I drop an input. Right there, I drop my second medium, and he counters with a full combo, triggers the Wrath of Tanarak, and I foolishly launched my special 1 into his block. He could have just absolutely clobbered me there. I'm not sure why he didn't. So we're trying to bait out this special 2 from him. We can't hit him because our Dex is going to push him to the SP3 if we get rid of that precision buff. He locks us in the corner, but we get a nice wall Dex of that special 2. trying to push him again back towards the middle of arena, eventually hopefully back towards his wall. He is very cooperative with that special 2 here. I don't think we've had another trigger of Wrath since that initial one, which is good. Usually when I fight Sasquatch with Void, I try and keep a special attack banked for when he's close to being in that Wrath mode, and that's just so that I can special intercept with it and just eat up a bunch of that Wrath timer. It makes it a little bit easier for me. Again, so he's being super cooperative here. I don't know if I try for any intercepts. All right, I did there, but he was not cooperative. There we go. So special attack, again, just eating up that Wrath timer. You know, any of the seconds that you can kind of take off there with him in place, not pushing you to your wall, is a good thing. We get a nice intercept going there, and the Wrath timer is gone. He does a full 5-hit combo into my block so we can counter with our combo, and the fight is pretty much over at this point. So other than, you know, the couple hits that we took from that dropped input, this was, you know, and there we go. There was, I knew there was another set of hits that we took at some point right at the end there. So again, the dropped input was the game's mistake. That combo that I took there was absolutely on me. And now at this point, I know that the degen is just going to tick him down, so I'm just kind of being extra patient. He is close to Wrath again, so we're just kind of retreating, and down he goes. So another 1,000,000 health boss down, and Void is still a very good champion. We did go on to win this one, so GG's to ForLoki. I think they beat us last season, so I guess it was just our turn to win. Big shout out to all the guys over there that I know and am cool with. Clown, of course, who has his sub account in SSX with us. PWF, Mike, B, Andrew, Yusafa, Shrimp, Lags, Enzo, Manny, all those guys. A lot of respect for the ForLoki folks. And that's going to do it for this one. 6 kills for me, 0 deaths, and our record has improved to an even 2-2. Folks, if you enjoyed this one, please remember to hit that like button and subscribe for more war content. And as always, thank you very much for watching. We'll see you again next time.